If you're looking for some awesome movies or TV shows starring Kate Winslet, you just click on the right video. Get ready to dive into these amazing ones that showcase unique connections.
We're excited to share this ranking with you and would love to hear your favorites in the comments.
Don't forget to subscribe, so you never miss out on discovering great movies and TV shows again.
Number 1. Titanic. Director, James Cameron. Titanic contains 3 stories at once.
The first is about treasure hunter Brock Lovett, Bill Paxton, who searches the wreck of what was once the largest ship in the world for the heart of the ocean, diamond necklace.
The research team makes contact with the former owner of the valuable necklace. The lady's name is Rose Dawson Calvert, Kate Winslet, and was on board in 1912 when the famous accident happened. Rose tells the men story number 2, in which she falls in love with the poor artist Jack Dawson, Leonardo DiCaprio, on her maiden voyage as an engaged upper-class girl. A love across social classes with all the problems that come with it.
This love story in turn happens against the background of story number 3. It is a story full of megalomania and blind faith in technology that ends at an iceberg.
Number 2. Little Children. Director, Todd Field. Echoes of Madame Bovary in suburban America.
While Sarah, Kate Winslet, is struggling in a loveless marriage with an advertising manager, she wants to achieve more by spending long hours in the park and pool with her daughter. Brad, Patrick Wilson, is an immature house husband who is married to a documentary producer.
Ronnie has just been released from prison and lives with his elderly mother May. Larry is a retired cop and stopped Ronnie from escaping.
Sarah and Brad intersect. Ronnie and Larry have demons. Brad has to work for the bar and Larry loses his job.
Ronnie's mother also thinks that her son needs a girlfriend. Sarah does not want to live in this unhappy life anymore.
Throughout the film, it becomes a matter of curiosity where all these complex stories will lead each of them.
Number 3. The Reader. Director, Stephen Daldry. Post-World War II, Germany.
A young man named Michael fell in love with Hannah Schmitz, who was twice his age. The duo's love affair ends when Hannah disappears one day. The story of The Reader takes place in Neustadt at the end of the 1950s. 15-year-old Michael, David Cross, suddenly has a jaundice attack on the way home from school and takes refuge in a doorway.
There he is found by a woman he does not know, Kate Winslet. The woman takes care of the boy and brings him home. When Michael recovered from the illness months later, he brought his helper a bouquet of flowers.
He realizes that Hannah Schmitz, the name of the woman in her 30s, has an almost magical attraction for him. The two begin an affair that lasts a summer.
Number 4. Revolutionary Road. Director, Sam Mendes.
It is a tranquil life that Frank Wheeler, Leonardo DiCaprio, lives with his wife April, Kate Winslet, and 2 small children in Connecticut in the 1950s.
Even if the young man doesn't like his office job, it still brings in enough money for a nice family house on Revolutionary Road.
After an unsuccessful attempt to gain a foothold in the theater industry, April also accepts her supposed fate and gives in to the everyday grind of her role as a housewife. That was not always so. The Wheelers once thought they were special, worldly, ambitious and, above all, not as abysmally ordinary as their neighbors. When they are ashamed to realize that they have long since arrived in the hated lower middle class and that their self-image has faded into a caricature, Frank and April decide to make a new start in Europe. The dream destination of Paris becomes a lifeline for the struggling marriage.
Number 5.
Mildred Pierce.
Director, Todd Haynes.
Glendale, California, 1931. Mildred Pierce, Kate Winslet, a young mother with a talent for baking, is left a grass widow after throwing her husband. Forced to hunt for work to support herself and her 2 young daughters, Mildred visits an employment agency, only to encounter job opportunities she feels are beneath her. Amidst her job search, she receives dating advice from her friend and neighbor, Lucy Gessler, and begins an unexpected affair with an ex-business partner of her husband's, Wally Bergan.
When Mildred receives a call from the agency regarding an opening as a housekeeper to a wealthy socialite, she reluctantly agrees to meet with her.
After cutting the acerbic interview short, Mildred seeks refuge at a local diner, Christopher's Cafe, where fate and a waitress named Ida will play a role in shaping her future.
Number 6.
A Little Chaos.
Director, Alan Rickman.
The story, set in 1682, tells the story of young landscape architect Sabine de Barra, who pushes the boundaries. The young woman, who draws attention with her talent and strong stance, has adopted the principle of breaking the conditions of the period rather than adapting to them. While working in a rural area of France, he receives an offer he never expected. Accordingly, he is asked to work at the Palace of Versailles for King Louis XIV. He accepts the offer, joins the team of the king's chief designer, the famous architect André Lenotre, and begins to arrange one of the main gardens of Versailles. Unlike other architects, Sabine immediately attracts attention with her unique designs. While resisting competitive and discriminatory attitudes, he gains the trust of the king's brother, and the relationship between the two begins to change with the chief architect, Lenotre.
Number 7. The Dressmaker. Director, Jocelyn Moorhouse.
The long shadow of the past doesn't stop Myrtle Dunnage, Kate Winslet, from returning to her sleepy hometown.
As a young girl, the now excellent seamstress was expelled from there.
After a unique career in European fashion metropolises such as London and Paris, she settles again in the Australian town of Dungatar, ends the dispute with her mother Molly, Judy Davis, and faces the difficult social situation. The beauty is up to no good and is anything but unprepared. She has her sewing machine with her, which is supposed to help the talented woman in her sweet quest for revenge. The residents are quickly impressed by her fashion creations and she takes a liking to the attractive Teddy, Liam Hemsworth.
Number 8. Wonder Wheel. Director, Woody Allen.
The lifeguard Mickey, Justin Timberlake, who looks after the many bathers on the beach at Coney Island in the 50s, witnesses a crazy story. It's about Ginny, Kate Winslet, and Humpty, Jim Belushi, who are a married couple who work jobs on the entertainment strip to stay afloat. When Carolina, Juno Temple, shows up one day, her life is turned upside down. The young woman claims to be Humpty's daughter, which in itself would be enough to make the house's blessing go badly wrong. Unfortunately, Carolina also got involved with bad people and is now on the run from gangsters who want to get her. Because Carolina knows a little too well about certain illegal activities. Number 9. The Mountain Between Us. Director, Hani Abu Assad. Photojournalist Alex, Kate Winslet, and neurosurgeon Ben, Idris Elba, don't know each other, but they have the same problem. Both are stuck at the same airport because their scheduled flights were cancelled due to bad weather. But they have to leave as quickly as possible due to urgent appointments. And so the two strangers end up together in a small charter plane, their only chance to leave the airport. But on the way, their pilot, Beau Bridges, suffers a heart attack and the three of them crash in a remote mountain range. Only the two passengers survive the crash and quickly realize that waiting for help is in vain. They are stranded too far away from any civilization. So they are forced to set off on the hundreds of kilometers long journey through the snow-covered landscape. The beginning of an intense battle for survival.
Number 10. Ammonite. Director, Francis Lee.
In the 1840s, renowned self-taught paleontologist Mary Anning, Kate Winslet, works alone on the wild southern English coast of Lyme Regis. She's looking for fossils to sell to rich tourists to help support herself and her sick mother. When one such tourist, Roderick Murchison, James McCardle, arrives in Lyme on the first leg of a European tour, he entrusts Mary with the care of his young wife Charlotte, Saoirse Ronan, who is recovering from a personal tragedy. Mary, whose life is a daily struggle on the poverty line, cannot afford to refuse him, but she takes pride in her work and clashes with her unwanted guest.